Good afternoon. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Laco Mojave. This watch is available from lacowatches.com for €980 on the stainless steel bracelet. Alternatively, the Mojave is available on a rubber NATO strap or a black rubber dive strap for €930. So this watch is made in Germany, and firstly let's look at the watch box that the Mojave comes in, and then I'll talk you through the other items that come with the watch. So the Laco Mojave comes in this white cardboard outer protective watch box, and this protects the watch box in shipping. As you can see on the lid, it says Laco 1925. Laco have been making watches in Germany since 1925, and the brand is most famous for producing Flieger watches for German pilots. So very rich heritage and interesting pedigree to the brand. So with regards to the watch box, it also says Laco 1925 in white on the lid. The watch box is coated in a black matte finish vinyl plastic, which has a rubber finish to it, and contrasting white stitching on the lid, which runs all the way around the watch box, including the base, the perimeter, and flawless stitching. It really is very impressive, the quality of the watch box, bearing in mind that this is a €980 price point piece. So it's a mid-tier watch, but the watch box really is the kind of quality that one would expect with a higher mid-tier piece, and I think it's a credit to Laco they haven't cut any corners with the quality or the execution of it. Hinge lid, and the interior is fully lined with the same black vinyl plastic. Now the watch itself sits on a padded pillow cushion, which is also coated with the same black vinyl plastic material. Very nicely done, and I think it's a good quality watch box, one would definitely keep to store the piece. So I really like it. So I'll talk you through the other items that come with the watch. One also gets this booklet which details the other options for the Laco Squad series, which is the sports series of Laco watches. They all have the scorpion embossed on the case back, which is the mark of the Squad series. So this is the green version, and what we're going to look at in the review is the orange version, which is the Mojave. So inside the booklet it also shows the scorpion, which is the embossed logo on the Squad series, and it also details the four colour options. One can have the orange Mojave that we're going to look at in the review. Alternatively, if that's not to your own personal taste, you can have it in blue, which is the Atlantic. You can have the black version, which is the Himalaya, or lastly you can have the green version, which is the Amazonas. So personally my favourite is the Mojave, the one we're going to review today, but it's nice to see that you can also have a blue, black or green version alternatively. And also the watch is available on a rubber NATO strap, or alternatively a black dive strap if the stainless steel bracelet isn't to your own personal taste. One also gets a comprehensive owner's instruction manual. So this operating instructions booklet details how to operate all the movements used in all Laco watches. The movement used in the Laco Mojave that we're going to look at is a Swiss-made ETA 2824-2 Elabor grade movement. So this owner's instruction manual is a very useful read if you're unfamiliar with automatic movements such as the ETA 2824-2. One also gets an international guarantee card. Now, I'm pleased to report that the Laco Mojave is covered by a 2-year international warranty. Bearing in mind that this is an under €1,000 price point piece, often it's the case that watches of this price point, under €1,000 price tier, only have a 12-month international warranty, but the Mojave has a 2-year international warranty. So if you buy this watch from a retailer, they will stamp the warranty card and fill in the date of purchase and the reference number of the piece. But you can buy the watch directly from Laco in Germany via their website lacowatches.com. So they will therefore cover the watch from the date of purchase for 2 years. So I really like that aspect, the 2-year international warranty. It's very reassuring. Now lastly, one also gets this price tag for the watch, and as you can see it says Laco 1925, made in Germany. And on the reverse it has the barcode and product code for the piece, and you can see the price is €980. So with regards to the other options that come with the Mojave, as I've discussed, if you do not like the stainless steel bracelet and you prefer to wear the watch on a NATO strap, you can buy the watch for €930 on this rubber NATO strap. Now, make no mistake, the quality of this rubber NATO strap is a level above the fabric NATO straps that you might be familiar with. Brushed satin finish stainless steel hardware. I like the L profile to the stainless steel keeper. It means that it doesn't slide, it keeps the strap taut, and I also like the brushed satin finish to this solid stainless steel buckle. It's signed with the Laco brand logo, as you can see. Nice heavy gauge of metal, well executed and good quality brushed satin finish, stainless steel hardware throughout. So high quality rubber NATO strap. Now, rubber NATO straps are actually more practical than fabric NATO straps because naturally they're waterproof and therefore one doesn't have to wait for them to dry out like a nylon NATO strap. One aspect I really like about this rubber NATO strap is the section where the holes are in the strap are reinforced with a thicker profile of rubber material. And that means the holes are not going to become elongated or split or crack through regular usage. So it's nice to see that attention to detail. This really is a high grade of rubber NATO strap. Good quality, nice and supple. It's not going to need any breaking in. It's going to be immediately comfortable as soon as you wear the watch on the strap. So I really like it. I think it's going to be durable and also an absolute pleasure to wear with good feel, good factor. Now, if that rubber NATO strap isn't your personal taste, you can also buy the Mojave on this black rubber dive strap. 2 sliding keepers, and it has a nice perforated finish to it. As you can see, there are holes throughout the strap, and that's good because it allows moisture and perspiration from the wrist to escape, so it's going to be comfortable to wear the watch in hot weather, and it also aids the strap drying out. So if you wear the watch diving or swimming, it allows the moisture and the water to seep through the strap, so it aids it drying off quickly. Again, the buckle and tang is well finished, brushed satin finish, nice heavy gauge of metal, signed with the Laco brand logo as one would expect. Underside is completely smooth, so it's going to be very comfortable to wear, and it has the dive style expansion gaps. So if your wetsuit expands when you're diving, those expansion ridges allow for the strap to expand. You don't have to resize it when it's on the wrist. So very practical. I'll just show you the other end of it. As you can see, the underside is completely smooth. It also has some holes in it to allow for perspiration and moisture to escape. As I've discussed, if you're going to wear this strap for long periods of time, for example 8 to 12 hours per day in hot weather, it allows your wrist, the sweat, to escape from your wrist. So it's going to be a very comfortable watch to wear, swimming, diving, and also in hot weather when your wrist is going to sweat. So very well designed. Nice thick profile to the ends of it where they meet the lugs in the case. It's clearly well made, so it's not going to split or crack around the spring bar, which is often a point that rubber straps fail. I think it's good. It feels supple enough to be flexible and comfortable without breaking in. I think as soon as you put this strap on the watch, it's going to feel very comfortable. Good strong silicone rubber strap, so I like the quality of it. Now, with regards to the watch itself, so this Laco Mojave is part of the Squad series of sports watches made by Laco. I've discussed the 4 colour options. One can have the Mojave we're looking at here, the Himalaya, the Amazonas or the Atlantic, depending on whether you like the watch in orange, black, green or blue alternatively. So 42mm case. It has a lug-to-lug measurement of 50mm. It has a thickness of 13.4mm and a lug width of 20mm. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the heft of the watch. When one takes this Laco Mojave out of the watch box, it's immediately apparent that this watch has serious heft. It's 180 grams on the stainless steel bracelet. Now, I personally like to have a watch with heft, especially a 42mm. I like to feel weight, I like to feel heft on the wrist because it's an indication of quality that it's got a solid stainless steel case, solid stainless steel crown, bracelet and also bezel. Everything about this watch just gives the feeling of quality, and I really like that 180 grams of heft. It really does give that feeling of a good quality German-made watch. Everything about it, from when one first picks it up, it just gives that feeling that this is a high grade of watch. So, with regards to the rest of the specification, it has a domed sapphire crystal with AR coating on the underside. And I really like the domed sapphire crystal. Very aesthetically pleasing, outstanding legibility due to the AR coating on the underside. With regards to the dial, it's matte black. Very nice contrast with the C3 Superluminova used throughout. I like the green hour hand contrasting with the orange minute hand. The bright orange minute hand reminds me of 1970s orange plongeur style hands, which were very popular. And also the white second hand contrasts beautifully with the matte black dial and the large white Arabic numerals. The symmetrical dial layout is both very aesthetically pleasing and also very functional and clearly legible in all light conditions. Date complication piece, it uses the ETA 2824-2 Elabor grade movement as discussed. Black date wheel with white numerals, clearly legible. And I like the fact that the sapphire crystal doesn't have a Cyclops magnifier, it simply has a slight dome to it. So very easy to read. The green and white hour hand, the orange minute hand and the white second hand with the oranged loom section to it. It just is very functional. It's like a Bauhaus design in that it's not over branded, there's not too much text on the dial, it simply says Laco at 12 o'clock. At the 6 o'clock position it says automatic and 30 ATM. So it's a 300 meter water resistant piece. There are two effective hermetic seals to the case. It has a solid stainless steel coin edge finish screw down crown, which is signed with the L for the Laco brand logo, as you can see. So that provides one effective hermetic seal to 300 meters or 30 ATM. It has a second effective hermetic seal to the solid stainless steel screw down case back. The case back is finished to perfection. It's one of the most aesthetically pleasing solid stainless steel case backs I've seen. I like the 3D effect of the embossed Scorpion logo, which is fitted to all the Squad series of sports watches in the Laco range. It really does add interest to the watch. Now, it's surprisingly comfortable to wear on the wrist. It doesn't irritate, it doesn't feel rough, there's no sharp edges. It's got a nice bead blasted satin finish to the centre section. The outer section of the screw down case back is brushed satin finish, and the Scorpion 3D embossed brand logo has a mirror polish finish to it, so nice contrast in the finishing. The specification of the watch is engraved. It says stainless steel, sapphire crystal and also made in Germany. So with regards to the rest of the specification, one thing I really like about the watch is the solid stainless steel bezel, which has a large gear tooth cut profile to it. And I really think that makes a refreshing change to the more usual scallop teeth or alternatively coin edge finish to stainless steel bezels that one gets. The large gear cut teeth profile mean that this bezel is very easy to grip. So for example, if you're going to use this for swimming or diving, and if you have wet hands which are slippery, or alternatively you're wearing a rubber glove on a wetsuit, this bezel is very grippy. It's very easy to grip those large gear tooth profile teeth. And I find this bezel to be very aesthetically pleasing. It's very functional. It's very easy to grip between one's index finger and thumb. Now, one thing I really like about it is it has 60 clicks. So it's a 60 click unidirectional bezel rather than the more usual modern day 120 click used. And I like the large heavy clicks of those 60 clicks. No backlash whatsoever, and the alignment is perfect. So no problems whatsoever with regards to the quality control, the build's quality and the execution of the bezel action. I like the sound of the loud clicks of the 60 clicks, and I also like the fact it's a really solid, firm resistance bezel action. Reminds me of the bezel action of a Steinhardt Ocean 1, which I also really like, and I actually consider that bezel action to be superior to the Rolex Submariner bezel action, which I think is too light. So the bezel action on this watch is 10 out of 10. It is one of my favourite bezel actions of all watches. Absolute pleasure to use. Nice to see a bezel action with no backlash whatsoever. Positive clicks, very satisfying to use. The other thing I like about the build quality of this watch is the execution of the solid stainless steel coin edge finish screw down crown. Silky smooth. When you unscrew the crown from the crown tube, the thread feels silky smooth to operate, so it's a pleasure to unscrew. 2 clicks which are positive to set the date complication or set the time, and you can also manually wind the ETA 2824-2 to top up the 40-hour power reserve. The meshing of the threading on the internal thread on the solid stainless steel screw down crown and also the stainless steel crown tube are exceptional. engages very well. The crown meshing, it really is done to perfection. It's the kind of execution of a crown one would expect on a higher tier piece costing €3,000 or €4,000. So to get that in a watch that costs €980 really is outstanding. With regards to the bracelet, there's something I want to bring to your attention. Early versions of the Laco Mojave had a 2-button push flip-lock clasp, but the quality was disappointing, to be honest with you. The 2-button push flip-lock was short, there was a lack of micro adjustment holes, and it was a very light gauge of metal, and it was something I was expecting to be disappointed with regards to this watch, and I was going to be critical of it. But I'm pleased to report that Laco have addressed this, and they've actually upgraded the quality of 2-button push flip-lock clasp used on this Mojave's bracelet. Signed with the Laco brand logo on the flip-lock, nice heavy gauge of metal, it's thick, brushed satin finish throughout, 4 micro adjustment holes which gives plenty of adjustment, and a nice machined bevel to the edge of the 2-button push flip-lock. Easy to open, nice 2-button push spring-loaded action, and I'm pleased to report that the interior has a solid stainless steel milled clasp. Finished to perfection, beautiful satin brushed finish, really is a high quality milled clasp, and I really like the heavy gauge of metal used, which is an improvement on the earlier versions as I've discussed. I also like the recess cut out of the clasp itself, which means that you can easily get your index finger or thumbnail underneath the V-shape flip lock. So that means it's easy to actually open it. It's easy to get your thumbnail underneath the point of that V-shaped flip lock. And that's something that often lower quality clasps don't have. They don't have a recess for your thumbnail. So very good attention to detail. Absolute pleasure to use. It closes with a nice positive click and a nice positive secondary click to the flip lock. Secure, well executed, well finished, and I like the fact it's brushed satin finished throughout rather than having mirror polish to the flanks. With regards to the bracelet, solid end links which are beautifully fitted to the case. The brushed satin finish of the oyster style bracelet is done to perfection. No imperfections whatsoever. Nice tight fit between the pins going through the bracelet and the center links. The flanks of the oyster style bracelet are brushed into a satin finish which is flawless, and the brushed satin finish of the crown, the bezel, the case and the bracelet throughout give the watch a real aesthetically pleasing tool watch aesthetic. Now, something I want to give due credit to Laco for is the quality of the brushed satin finish on the flanks of the case. This watch is finished to perfection. One thing I really like about it is the finishing is done in a vertical plane. There are vertical brushes to the flanks of the case. It's often the case that watches are finished to a mirror polish finish to the flanks, but on the Laco Mojave it has vertical brushed satin finish to the flanks. And that really shimmers in the lights. It really does reflect the lights very nicely. I really like that aspect of it. And it makes a refreshing change from the mirror polishing one usually gets on a watch. It really is done to a flawless finish. And I really like the way that that vertical brushing catches the light. It's just very aesthetically pleasing. So I'll talk you through the movement that comes in the watch. The Laco Mojave is powered by the ETA 2824-2 Elab Ore grade movement. So 25 dual movement, 42 hours of power reserve, and the Elab Ore grade is really the standard grade of ETA movement, so it's a credible Swiss-made movement. Now I'll explain the difference between the Elab Ore grade and the top grade. The Elab Ore grade movement comes in the standard 28,800 vibrations per hour and a frequency of 4 Hz, as one would expect. The Elab Ore grade has a stated accuracy of plus or minus 7 seconds to plus or minus 20 seconds per day, which is perfectly acceptable. Now, one can upgrade the Elab Ore grade used in this watch to top grade. And the top grade has a stated accuracy of plus or minus 4 seconds per day to plus or minus 15 seconds per day. So it's a more accurate version of the movement. Now, the Elab Ore grade movement is regulated in 3 positions. The top grade movement is regulated in 5 positions. So this is something I want you to consider. You can buy this watch and you can opt to upgrade from the Elab Ore grade ETA 2824-2 to the top grade. And I think that's something that's well worth doing. It costs an additional €130, but bear in mind that the movement is regulated in 5 positions and it has an accuracy of plus or minus 4 seconds to plus or minus 15 seconds per day. So the standard Laco Mojave comes with the Labor grade, but for an extra €130 you can upgrade to the top grade. There are other alternatives, there are other options you can upgrade your Laco Mojave to, so I'll talk you through those. If you're a collector that's left-handed and you prefer to wear your watch on your right wrist rather than your left, Laco offer the option of this watch in a left-handed version with the crown at the 9 o'clock position rather than the more conventional 3 o'clock position you're looking at here. So a left-handed version of this watch is available for an additional €80, which I think is very reasonable. You can also upgrade the AR coating. This comes as standard with a domed sapphire crystal with a AR coating on the underside, but if you personally prefer 2 layers of AR coating both on the top side and the underside, you can upgrade to double AR coating for an additional €100. Now lastly, there's another interesting option. You can have custom engraving done on your watch. Laco allow you to choose up to 15 characters, and on the left hand flank of the case they will engrave those 15 numerals or letters, those 15 characters on the left hand flank of your case. So that is only €49, and I really think that's impressive. To be able to customize your Laco Mojave, you can add the AR coating, you can have a left-handed version, you can upgrade the movement to a top grade, and you can have 15 characters engraved on the left-hand flank. So for example, if you're going to give this watch to someone as a gift and you want to engrave their name or their date of birth or a special message, you have up to 15 characters, and I really think that's very reasonable. It's only €49. So let's do a lume test and we'll see how the lume performs when it's charged up to the absolute maximum. So this watch uses C3 Superluminova throughout, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the performance of the lume of this watch. I've got high expectations. It's €980, so it's a mid-tier piece, and I'm expecting the lume to perform better than low-tier pieces, for example, that use Luminova. C3 Superluminova is one of my personal favourites. I absolutely love the green tone of it, and I think the performance of Superluminova is equal to the very best of Seiko Lumibrite or Rolex Chromolite, for example. Right, so that's now fully charged, and as you can see, it's absolutely outstanding. This is what 10 out of 10 quality Superluminova looks like. Just look at the quality of the lume on that lumed ceramic bezel insert. It's absolutely outstanding. The hour hand is glowing very brightly in green C3 Superluminova, and the minute hand is glowing in orange. And I really like the contrast of the orange 15-minute ticks on the first quarter of that lumed ceramic bezel insert. The indices are also clearly lumed, there's good symmetry, the lume is glowing brightly and it's continuing to glow for a good length of time. The white second hand is sweeping around the dial, and you can see it has a lumed orange circle on it, so that's also clearly legible. I regard the C3 Superluminova on this watch to be outstanding. It simply is beyond criticism. I'm very pleased that Laco haven't cut any corners with regards to the lume. Now, just think about that for a second. Lumed ceramic bezel insert. To get that on a Tudor Pelagos, one is going to have to pay €4,000. You're getting a lumed ceramic bezel insert on a watch that costs €980. You're talking Tudor Pelagos specification, but not having to pay €4,000 for it. You're getting it at €980. Now, I really think that is excellent specification. So, I'll give you a wrist shot and then I'll finally surmise the piece. Now, I haven't sized this bracelet, I simply took it straight out of the watch box, and as you know from my previous reviews, I have a large 8-inch wrist, and I'm pleased to report that this watch does indeed fit my 8-inch wrist, and I can actually fit an index finger underneath the bracelet. So this watch bracelet, will fit comfortably up to an 8.5-inch wrist with no problems whatsoever. It's actually on the second micro adjust hole from the end, so it's not at its absolute maximum. Now, it fits my 8-inch wrist to absolute perfection. 20mm lug width perfectly balanced the proportion of the 42mm case. I really like the way the curved lugs wrap around the wrist. 13.4mm, so it's going to slip easily underneath the shirt cuff with that domed sapphire crystal. It just fits my wrist perfectly, and I would say to you, if you're a collector with a 7 to 8 inch wrist, look no further. This is the perfect watch for a 7 to 8 inch wrist. The proportions, the taper of the lugs, and the case shape on the underside, they just are absolutely perfection. I really like the slight taper of the 20mm bracelet and that very well executed brushed satin finish to the 2-button push flip lock clasp, which is signed on the flip lock, as you can see with Laco. It's just a perfectly balanced watch. Now, although it's a heavy piece at 180 grams, it doesn't feel like it. It feels more like a 150 gram dive piece. It feels more like a 40mm. So yes, it's a large piece at 42mm. If you're a collector with a 6 to 7 inch wrist, I have to be honest and say this watch is going to be too large for you. If you're a collector with a larger wrist of 7 to 8 inches, this will fit you to perfection. Feel good factor is outstanding. Aesthetically pleasing, clearly legible with those large Arabic numerals and contrasting orange minute hand. I just think it's a very well designed watch, very good looking and incredibly comfortable. So lastly, what do I think of the watch? Well, when I'm considering reviewing a watch for my channel, the watch should meet 2 criteria. The watch should be both excellent quality and excellent value at the respective price point. And I'm pleased to report that this watch meets both those criteria. In fact, it exceeds those criteria. Yes, this watch is excellent quality. Yes, this watch is excellent value. I would say to you that at €980, this watch cannot be beaten. Very strong specification. Sapphire crystal with AR coating, lume ceramic bezel insert, Swiss ETA 2824-2, a lab grade movement. Everything about this watch is done to perfection. The quality of the finishing throughout is exceptional and I really like it. It's an absolute pleasure to get a good quality watch in hand and review it in detail. And with regards to negatives, what are the negatives? There is only one thing I would change about this watch. Now, it's a minor criticism. It has push pins in the oyster style bracelet rather than screw pins. At €980, one would usually expect to see screw pins because they're higher quality. But however, that's my own personal taste. I'm well aware that some collectors actually prefer push pins rather than screw pins because they're very easy to, they make it very easy to resize a bracelet using a bracelet resizing tool. One can easily push out the pins and push them back in again to add or remove links. So I personally would prefer to see screw pins, but I am pleased to see that Laco have upgraded the 2-button push flip lock bracelet clasp to a higher grade with thicker gauge of metal, nice big bevel machined on it and brushed satin finish with more micro adjustment holes. So they have improved upon the 2-button push flip lock clasp used in earlier models, so that's something I cannot criticise. Overall, this watch doesn't have any other negatives. I really think that it's excellent quality and excellent value. I regard this watch to be a champagne watch for lemonade money. It is a heavy hitter and I would strongly recommend it to you for your consideration. I think you're going to find it hard to find a better watch for €980. It's made in Germany and it uses a quality Swiss ETA 2824-2 movement, which you can also upgrade to a top grade for an additional €130. So overall, I think the watch is outstanding. I hope you've liked my review of the Laco Mojave. Please feel free to post your own comments below the video. Thank you very much.